The good old days, and can we just keep playing that music in the background too? I like it. You know who our next guest is. A 5-time division titleist and one of the most decorated boxers of all time. Sugar Ray Leonard is in the building. So good to have you with us.
So wonderful to be here. Thank you.
I want to start with the fight this weekend. You'll obviously be bringing us perspective to the broadcast booth this Saturday, Barclays Center, the big fight between the 27-0 Keith Thurman and 33-0 Danny Garcia. Sugar Ray, who do you see as having the edge?
You know, if I was handcuffed, I would give a slight edge to Keith Thurman. It's a gut feeling, just the way I feel about this young man. Both of these guys are capable of beating each other. It just depends. The fight depends, or the win depends upon who sticks to their game plan. Because what's at stake here, this is for unification. That's major. Like when I fought Tommy Hearns, it was a major, major fight. So who remains composed and sticks to his game plan?
Now, Ray, why would you say?
Ahead,
I'm sorry. Go ahead. No, I just want to ask this. Here's the thing, Ray, I kind of agree with you in terms of that it factor. Thurman seems to have it. But when you talk about who's going to be composed, I think more about Danny Garcia. Because I think that Keith Thurman can get a bit wild. He's powerful, but he can get a bit wild. Whereas Danny Garcia, I don't see as being that individual. He has some power, but he doesn't rely on it in order to win. Whereas Keith Thurman looks for the knockout, and I think at times he could get sloppy. You don't view that? You don't view it that way?
You are correct from a boxing perspective. But here it is, see, the fact that first of all, you can't teach a person what to do when he gets knocked down. You can tell them what to do when he gets knocked down, like to hopefully grab the rope to stabilize yourself when you get knocked down for the very first time. Look at the referee. Take your time. You can talk about that, but that has to happen. In other words, this fight here is so significant for both fighters that it depends on who's there that particular night.
So you like Keith Thurman's star quality. I understand that, Ray. Keith Thurman does have a star quality and a charisma even when he fights, not just connecting with fans outside the ring, but he seems to know how to win in those either kind of way fights. Although so does Danny Garcia. And Garcia, to Stephen A's point, his movement seemed more automatic, as though the deeper amateur background really was kind of imprinted in him, and he doesn't have to think as much. His punches are a little shorter, a little crisper. Thurman, on the other hand, is the naturally larger, maybe a little more tread on the tires, hasn't been quite through as many wars, and the bigger puncher and the bigger star quality. And you, who were matched up evenly with the greats of your era, neither one of these two in that class, with Wilfred Benitez and Tommy Hearns and these guys, you had that star quality where even though you guys were about even, when push came to shove, you knew how to take it over the top and get it done. Are you saying that's what you see in Keith Thurman, that quality?
Yes, Max. I've watched both guys, and they both have developed. They both have grown significantly from day one. I just feel that with Keith Thurman, and I've seen him, get rocked, and the good thing about it also, both guys have great chins. That's a plus there. But I just feel that maybe there's a little bit of that much, and that really speaks volume, but it's that much. But you know what? Put it this way. I wouldn't bet my house on it. I would not bet my house on it.
Right, that's why it's a good fight.
Again, both guys can rumble, both guys can fight, both guys have heart, they have intestinal fortitude. It's that kind of fight. It's a fight that fight fans should see and want to see.
Sugar Ray, there's another fight. I want to switch gears for a second that I'm curious to see if you think fans should see and should want to see, and that's Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather. Now, a lot of UFC fans are salivating for that. Do you think Conor McGregor has a shot and it's wise for him to get in a boxing ring?
As a boxer, McGregor, no, he can't win. He won't win. Martial artist, as far as kicking, he wins big time. He beats everybody.
Do you think this is good for boxing or it'd be bad for boxing if it happened?
Nothing's going to hurt boxing. Does it help? No, it doesn't really help, but it's entertainment.
Ray, what do you think when you see the politics of boxing right now with promoters and networks? In your day, you were the money man. And unlike De La Hoya early in his career or Mayweather at different points, you always sought the biggest money fight against the most dangerous opponent, even if he had another promoter, Benitez, Duran, Hearns, Hagler. and went right to that fight to test yourself. Now, here in Thurman Garcia coming up, you have a terrific fight, 2 undefeated belt holders, the whole thing. Then Errol Spence, Kell Brook, the winner of that fight, Terrence Crawford. But the special fighters aren't always running toward each other as you did in your day. How do you feel about that when you see the landscape today?
Well, you know, I like to see him. If you call yourself the best, you got to fight the best out there. It's a different time now. I mean, these fighters are making far more money, and rightfully so. They deserve it. But it's becoming more and more of a business, if you will. What's the best move? It's not about fighting the best guy out there. It's not about saying I'm the best in the world. Well, if you fight the best in the world, you prove that. It's just not. I gotta be careful here.
Yeah. Sugar, before we let you go, I got to ask you this question because obviously I grew up idolizing you, seeing what you did, fighting Roberto Duran, fighting Tommy the Hitman Hearns, fighting Marvin Hagler, et cetera, et cetera. And we talk about Garcia and Thurman for this upcoming fight. But even though I know that you have profound respect and consider them both champions and very good fighters, there's levels to this, as Max and I always say. As great as others may have been, there was another level when you brought up the name Sugar Ray Leonard. In the welterweight division right now, who's that guy in your eyes? Is it one of these two, or is it an Errol Spence? Because that's the guy that I like. I see those other guys as potentially great.
He looks special. Spence looks special.
As special. What about you?
I love Errol Spence. I mean, I love him from day one. He's always been up there as far as I'm concerned. But again, these guys, Keith Thurman, Danny Garcia, they belong up there. Maybe not as far.
Incidentally, Sugar Ray, just to, when you talk about the business that it's become, just so people understand the star that Sugar Ray Leonard was in his prime, Sugar Ray, you got over $10 million. I forgot it was 11 or 13 for fighting Tommy Hearns in, what was it, 1981? At that time, the biggest contract in the history of professional American team sports was Dave Winfield, who got $2 million a year, and you were making 5, 6, 7 times that in one fight. So what you showed is that the biggest business you can possibly do is when you fight the best. And it was a pleasure to grow up in that era and watch you do it.
Well put, Max. Well put.
No question. And it's an honor having you here with us, and we look forward to seeing you Saturday.
I can't wait. My palms will start sweating.
Love it. Not you. You're a champ. Up next, running back Joe Mixon looked good on the field at Oklahoma, but off the field, not so much. Should his transgressions have him held back from getting a combine invite? We'll discuss that. Plus, is Jerry Jones
Embrace mine, I go took the two. 4 takes, that's you. 3 takes, not me. 2 takes if you lucky. First take, stop me. 4 takes, that's you. 3 takes, not me. 2 takes if you lucky. First take, got me.
What's up, everybody? Welcome into First Take on this Friday Eve. Thank you so much for hanging with us. Molly Karam here in Bristol. Your boys, Stephen A. and Max. There they are. Coming to us from New York. Hi, guys. How we feeling?
What's up? What's up? What's up?
We had a game last night, gentlemen. You want to get into it?
Quite a game.
Why we here?
Quite a game.
Let's do it. How about those Celtics? Last night did not disappoint. 24 lead changes, including 10 in the fourth, as LeBron James tied his career high with his 7th triple-double of the season, but it wasn't enough. Boston outlasting Cleveland with Bill Belichick courtside. Isaiah Thomas is the first player with at least 3 30-point games versus Cleveland in a single season since both Dwayne Wade and Allen Iverson did it. That was back in the 05-06 season. The loss was Cleveland's first on the road this season when leading in the fourth. Stephen A. Smith, got a question for you. How legit a threat are the Celtics to the Cavs in the East?
Well, I think it's a legitimate threat. I think they can make things very, very interesting. I don't see a 5-game series, them getting blown away or what have you, because I think sometimes the Cleveland Cavaliers are relatively inconsistent. And what I mean by that is they'll look like gangbusters one game, and then they look like they fell asleep the next game. And Boston is just feisty. I'm still not ruling out the Washington Wizards or the Toronto Raptors, mind you, because they're legitimate threats. And again, with the Wizards being a 3 seed, you know, they got to fight with Boston, and that could zap a lot out of Boston if Boston were to win that series. I get all of that. But I guess what I'm saying is when I look at those two teams in particular, the Boston Celtics and the Washington Wizards, and I look at the way that they play and the way that they get up for the Cleveland Cavaliers. You know you're the prohibitive underdog going up against LeBron James in a playoff series if you're a team within the Eastern Conference. And unlike most other teams, with these two teams, it seems to get them going. They seem to elevate their level of play to another level. Isaiah Thomas is a bona fide, legitimate league MVP candidate. He's an absolute stud. Marcus Smart, I mean, this dude, he scares the living hell out of you when he's on the court because he's so adroit at drawing offensive fouls. Nobody, I don't know anybody in the league right now who's better than him at that. I think he's drawing more offensive fouls than the rest of his entire team. Avery Bradley is one of the best defenders in basketball when healthy on that basketball court. He's just a special defender. And I can't say enough about Brad Stevens and how he could coach. Max, I'm willing to go as far as to say this. I believe two things. Number one, this would be a 7-game series potentially if they faced each other in a conference finals. Obviously, I'm still going to favor Cleveland, but I think it would be a 7-game series, A. And B, Max, I'd go as far as to question whether or not Kevin Durant was right in going to Golden State instead of Boston because of what I'm seeing in that regard. Go ahead.
Well, first, just quickly about Durant, I thought Boston was a great spot for Kevin Durant. Yeah. It's too bad he didn't go there. And had he gone to Boston, in fact, they may be the favorites over the Cavs right now. But the fact is he didn't go to Boston, and consequently, Boston is not a threat to the Cavs in the East, barring catastrophic injury, of course, to a pivotal player on the Cavs, especially, obviously, LeBron James. But they're not, in fact. They're a player away. And that player, Kevin Durant would have been really nice, Paul George, Gordon Hayward, Jimmy Butler, someone like that. It's not just that they're a player away and it has to be a nice rotation piece. They're a star player away. Let's look at what just happened last night in a terrific game. And by the way, let me just say, I like the fact that the Eastern Conference is chippy again. Not just good at the top with those 4 teams, Toronto, obviously, and Washington and Boston and Cleveland, but chippy. You know, it's more physical, it looks like, than like it used to be. That's fun to see. That's the character of the conference. It always has been. But when you look at what happened yesterday, Boston, health and well, Stephen A.
Thank you.
Boston playing at home, Cavs on the road. Cavs without Kevin Love, without J.R. Smith, trying to integrate a brand new piece in Darren Williams, who, by the way, takes the last shot. Should he have taken the shot? I mean, yes, but still, maybe there's a little more easy integration there in terms of the way they play. With all those factors working against the Cavs, it was an amazing game, came down to the wire, and the Celtics barely won. The Celtics...
The good old days. And can we just keep playing that music in the background, too? I like it. You know who our next guest is. A 5-time division titleist and one of the most decorated boxers of all time. Sugar Ray Leonard is in the building. So good to have you with us.
So wonderful to be here. Thank you.
I want to start with the fight this weekend. You'll obviously be bringing us perspective to the broadcast booth this Saturday. Barclays Center, the big fight between the 27-0 Keith Thurman and 33-0 Danny Garcia. Sugar Ray, who do you see as having the edge?
You know, if I was handcuffed, I would give a slight edge to Keith Thurman. It's a gut feeling, just the way I feel about this young man. Both of these guys are capable of beating each other. It just depends. The fight depends, or the win depends upon who sticks to their game plan. Because what's at stake here, this is for unification. That's major. Like when I fought Tommy Hearns, it was a major, major fight. So who remains composed and sticks to his game plan?
Now,
Ray,
why would you say?
Ahead,
I'm sorry. Go ahead. No, I just want to ask this. Here's the thing, Ray.